yesterday and today, major newspapers across the United States reported an unfortunate news story about a man who, after decades, ended his life and paid the price for what he had done. Was it because of blindness, irresponsibility, cruelty, or what else motivated him to kill his wife and son? Or is there a hidden truth behind it? Watch until the end to discover these secrets. Inita for Florida's sticky heat wraps around you like a damp towel, and the streets hum with the buzz of cicadas, whispering secrets in the night. Robert, a 29-year-old hustler running a small-time business gig, is grinding like a boss to keep his company afloat. His suburban crib, in middle-class spot, now feels like a ghost town with dust collecting on the family photos. He's living there with his wife, Olivia, 34, a woman whose spark is fading under the weight of loneliness, and their two kids, Edward, 7, and Anna, 5. Robert's always out, chasing deals, leaving the house quiet except for the kids' laughter echoing down the hall. Olivia stares out the window, thinking he's all about the cash. But what about me? Stuck in this empty house, Robert's hustle keeps him out late meetings, trips, the whole 9 yards. He's too busy to notice Olivia's growing distance, the way her eyes linger on the horizon. She's fighting an internal battle, torn between loyalty and a craving for someone to hear her out. I need someone who gives a damn, she thinks, her heart aching for connection. Enter Harold, Robert's 79-year-old pops, a widower with a rugged charm and a spring in his step. He swings by often to play with the grandkids, tossing a ball with Edward or reading to Anna. But his visits ain't just about the kids. He sees Olivia struggle, her tired eyes, and thinks, my boy's too caught up in his grind, leaving this fine woman to fend for herself. Their talks start innocent coffee on the porch, laughs about old times, but there's a spark, a dangerous one, growing under the Florida moonlight. The neighborhood's got its own vibe, a mix of hard-working folks and whispered gossip. Robert picks up on the chatter, hearing how Harold's around more than he should be. One night, after a few beers with a neighbor, he lets it slip, his voice low and bitter. I'd rather deal with it all than let her walk out and make a fool of me. Inside, he's torn. Guilt for neglecting his family mixes with pride, telling himself, work's gotta come first, right, Olivia? Meanwhile, feels the pull toward Harold, wondering if he's her way out of the loneliness. Harold's own thoughts are tangled. He knows it's wrong, but can't help feeling for Olivia. The air's thick with tension, like a storm brewing just out of sight, ready to break. Every glance between Olivia and Harold, every late night chat, tightens the knot, pulling everyone toward a breaking point nobody sees coming. The Florida night hums with secrets, and Robert's world starts cracking like thin ice. One muggy evening in 1994, he cuts a business trip short, driving home under a moon, that feels too bright, like it's spilling light on truths he ain't ready for. Pushing open the bedroom door, he freezes, his heart pounding like a jackhammer. There's Olivia, 34, tangled up with Harold, his 79-year-old pops, in a moment so raw it burns his eyes. The room's dim, lit by a flickering lamp, their shadows dancing on the wall. Olivia's whisper cuts through the air. Harold, you make me feel alive again. Harold, his voice low, murmurs, I'm just looking out for you, darling. Clothes are strewn across the floor, the air heavy with cheap perfume and betrayal. Robert's mind spins, screaming. My own pops with my wife, all because I've been too busy grinding. The betrayal hits like a punch to the gut, leaving Robert gasping. He stumbles out, the image seared into his brain, his wife and his old man stealing. What's his shame washes over him. He feels like a straight up fool, played by the two people closest to him. I've been hustling for them, and this is what I get. He thinks his pride taking a beating. Olivia, caught in the act, feels her stomach twist with guilt, but clings to her excuse. He's never home, never sees me. I needed someone. Harold's torn too, knowing he crossed the line, but thinking, my boy left her alone. I was just filling the void. The house, once a home, now feels like a trap. Every creak of the floorboards amplifying the tension. Robert starts moving like a man possessed, shadowing Olivia and Harold's every move. He's listening to their late night calls, peeking through windows, his heart racing with every hushed word he catches. The streets of their Florida suburb feel tighter, like the walls are closing in. Olivia senses his change, her nerves fraying as she spots his car lingering too long outside. He's onto us. She thinks, air pulse quickening. Harold, usually steady, starts sweating under the pressure. Wondering if he's pushed his son too far, Robert's thoughts turn darker. His eyes lingering on a hardware store display, a shiny blade catching the light. I could fix this, he mutters to himself, the idea taking root like poison. The air's thick with a storm brewing, and every whispered secret between Olivia and Harold pulls the knot tighter, dragging them all toward a cliff nobody can back away from. The sun beats down on Florida like a relentless drum, turning the air thick and heavy as Robert's thoughts swirl into a storm. Morning of June 9th, 1994, hits him like a freight train. Olivia, her eyes avoiding his, drops the bomb she wants out, wants to be with Harold for good. The words hang in the kitchen, mixing with the smell of burnt coffee. Robert's gut twists. His mind racing, I've poured my soul into this hustle for us. And now it's all crumbling because I wasn't there. The betrayal fuels a fire inside, building like a pressure cooker ready to blow. He nods numbly, but inside he's snapping, thinking, I gotta handle this my way. Not turning back. Lunch break rolls around. And Robert slips out of the office, his hands clammy as he heads to the hardware store down the block. The place smells like sawdust and metal, shelves lined with tools that whisper possibilities. His eyes lock on a machete, its blade gleaming under the fluorescent lights just for yard work. He mutters to the cashier, a grizzled old-timer who eyes him funny but rings it up anyway. Robert's heart pounds as he tucks it into a bag, imagining how it could cut through his problems, end the pain once and for all. This'll fix things. He thinks, a dark resolve settling in. The walk back feels longer, every step echoing his spiraling mind memories of Olivia's laugh flash by, twisted with images of her and Harold back at his desk. Robert stares at the clock, acting cool while his brain spinning like a top. Papers shuffle, phones ring. But he's miles away, plotting every detail. Wait for them to come home, then make it right. He schemes, his fingers tapping a nervous rhythm. The office buzz fades into background noise as guilt creeps in. If I'd been around more, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But the hurt overrides it, turning to a cold determination. Olivia's at home, passing her own thoughts a mess. He's changing. I can feel it did. I pushed too far, Harold. Sipping tea at his place, senses trouble brewing, thinking, I never meant for it to go this way. The afternoon drags, tension thick as fog. Every tick of the clock pulling Robert closer to the edge. As the day winds down, Robert grips the bag tighter, his plan solidifying like concrete. The Florida heat mirrors his inner turmoil, sweat beading on his brow, not just from the sun. Tonight, it ends. He whispers to himself, the weight of his choices pressing down. The suburbs' quiet streets mock him, hiding the storm about to unleash. Unbeknownst to all, the pieces are falling into place, dragging them toward a night that'll change everything forever. The Florida dusk settles like a heavy blanket, shadows stretching long across the suburban streets. As Robert sits in the dim living room, the machete tucked away under the couch cushion, his mind's a whirlwind, replaying Olivia's words from that morning, the betrayal stinging fresh, handle it my way. He mutters, his breath coming in shallow bursts. The clock ticks louder than usual, each second building the tension like a coil, winding tight. Outside, kids play in the yard next door, their laughter a cruel reminder of what he's about to shatter. Robert's thoughts race. If I'd been there more, held her close instead of chasing deals, maybe, but the hurt drowns it out, turning to a cold resolve. Olivia steps through the door first, her face tired from the day, unaware of the storm waiting. Ah, hey, she says softly, setting down her bag. Robert Trices, his eyes hard, and the confrontation erupts like a dam breaking. Words fly, accusations of betrayal. Shouts about, Harold, you chose him over me. My own pops, he yelled, his voice cracking. Olivia pleads, tears streaming, you were never here. I needed someone in a flash. Rage takes over. He knocks her senseless, ending the argument in a tragic blur. His mind screams, "You betrayed me for my dad. Now it's over." The room spins. The air thick with regret that's already too late. Then the kids, Edward's in the hall, wide-eyed at the noise, toy truck in hand. "Dad," he whispers, innocent and confused. Robert turns, his world narrowing to a tunnel of pain. And the unthinkable happens. The loss hits like a wave crashing. Anna's in the bathroom, humming a tune, her small voice echoing off the tiles. She sees him, smiles at first, then fear creeps in. "Daddy, what's wrong?" The scene unfolds in heartbreaking silence after the house. Now, a shell of what it was, Robert stands there, breathing heavy, the weight crushing him. The kids are innocent. He thinks a flicker of horror breaking through, but they remind me of every failure. Every night I wasn't home. Broken relief mixes with terror. He's crossed the line, wondering if neglect turned him into this stranger. The aftermath is frantic. Robert wipes away traces, his hands shaking as reality sinks in. He grabs a bag, stuffs in essentials, and bolts for the car. The engine roars to life, tires screeching as he peels out toward Orlando, the night swallowing him whole. Streetlights blur past, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. "What have I done?" echoes in his head, fear of consequences closing in. The highway stretches endless, a fugitive's path lit by headlights, leaving behind a home forever changed. Unseen forces pull him forward. The storm finally breaking in a downpour of irreversible choices. The highway blurs into the night as Robert speeds toward Orlando, his knuckles white on the wheel, mind racing like a runaway train. He ditches the car at the airport, buys a one-way ticket to Hawaii with cash, slipping into the crowd like a ghost. On the plane, staring out at the endless ocean, he changes his name in his head. Jimmy now. A fresh start in paradise. Gotta lie low. He thinks the weight of what he's done pressing down like an anchor. Hawaii greets him with salty air and swaying palms, a picture-perfect escape that mocks his inner turmoil. The beaches are golden, waves crashing gentle, but inside it's a storm flashes of Olivia's face. The kids' laughter echoing like accusations. He hooks up with a religious commune on the island, a tight-knit group, living simple, sharing meals and prayers under the stars. They take him in, no questions asked, thinking he's just another lost soul searching for peace. Jimmy blends in, helping with chores, listening to sermons about forgiveness, but nights are hell. He tosses in his bunk, haunted by nightmares, blood on his hands. Harold's betrayed eyes. "I wrecked it all cause of jealousy." He whispers in the dark, regret gnawing at him like a rat. Back in Florida, word spreads fast. Harold hears the news, collapses in his chair. clutching his chest. I did this, pushed my boy over the edge with my mistake. The old man's world crumbles. Guilt eating him alive as cops swarm the scene. 4 months dragged by in a haze of routine morning meditations. Evening gatherings, the commune feels like a bubble saved from the real world. One lazy afternoon, the group huddles around the television for a show called Unsolved Mysteries. Laughter fades as the screen flashes. Robert's face, his real name, the gruesome details skimmed over in dramatic narration. Gasps ripple through the room, eyes dart his way, side-eyeing hard. Jimmy Robert feels the heat, sweat beaten despite the ocean breeze. The jig's up. He thinks, panic rising like bile. Whispers start. Folks avoiding him at dinner. The trust shattered like glass. Next morning, he packs his few things, walks into the local precinct with a calm that's skin deep. I'm the guy you're looking for, he says. Hands up, voice steady, but eyes hollow. Cops cuff him gentle. Surprised by the surrender, inside he's broken, reflecting on the root of it all. Neglecting my family was the biggest screw up. It snowballed into this nightmare. The flight back to Florida's a blur. Chains rattling as reality crashes down. Paradise fades in the rear view. Leaving him to face the music, a life on the run cut short. Pulling him toward the long arm of justice, waiting on the mainland. The years blur like a bad dream, stretching from 1994 to 2025, with Robert rotting behind bars at Florida State Prison, 31 long ones, filled with appeals that crash and burn one after another. His lawyers fight tooth and nail, arguing every angle mental state, family neglect, the raw betrayal, but the courts ain't having it. Shutting down each plea, like a door slamming shut. Robert, now 60, spends his days reflecting, staring at the cell walls that echo his regrets. Work wasn't worth losing my family. He thinks the weight of his choices crushing him. Harold passed years ago, taking his guilt to the grave, leaving Robert to ponder alone. My pop started the fire, but I poured the gas. The system grinds on, justice slow but relentless, pulling him toward the end. July 31st, 2025, dawns gray and heavy. Robert wakes at 5:15 in the morning, the prison lights buzzing overhead like angry bees. He's calm on the surface, compliant as always, but inside, a storm rages, flashes of Olivia's smile, the kids' giggles, all lost to his rage. Breakfast ain't nothing special, but his last meal hits different. Fried pork chops, root beer fizzing cold, and scoops of ice cream melting slow. He savors each bite, thinking of simpler times. Maybe a family picnic he never made time for. One visitor shows a distant cousin, sharing quiet words through the glass. Forgive yourself, she says, but Robert just nods, his eyes distant. The guards watch close, noting his steady demeanor. Not fool, sir. no fight left. As the hour nears, they lead him down the sterile hall, straps securing him to the gurney. The room's clinical witnesses peering through a window like ghosts. Robert's final thoughts swirl. Neglect bred the betrayal, and jealousy sparked the flame. I destroyed what I loved most. The lethal injection flows, quiet and final, marking Florida's 9th execution that year, the highest since 2014. The state sets a grim record, closing the book on a tragedy that spanned decades. News spreads fast, folks debating justice versus mercy. But for Robert, it's over no more haunting memories, just silence. This tale of Robert serves as a stark reminder in our hustle-bustle world. Neglecting family for work can carve deep voids, leading to mistakes that spiral out of control. Cherish the bonds, carve out time to talk, and remember, emotional gaps invite trouble. Don't let anger cloud your judgment, cause one rash choice can shatter everything you hold dear forever. In the end, it's a call to balance life, to love fierce and present, lest we repeat the heartbreak that turned a man into a monster